You're listening to the Marne Report.
Well, hey, Fort Stewart, Hunter Army Airfield. Welcome to this week's edition of the Marne Report podcast. This is Molly.
And it's Brian Lund here. Good morning, Fort Stewart. Today we are joined by Ms. Gardner from the Family Advocacy Program. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate you with the opportunity to come and talk about my program.
Yeah, nice to have you this morning. Can you elaborate more on this program?
Yeah, so I'm with the Family Advocacy Program, and what we focus on is domestic violence and child abuse, all about the prevention and education. We want to make sure that our community knows how to make reports of not just domestic violence, but child abuse as well, and how to get help and the resources, and not just our resources, but community resources as well.
That's incredible. And I think this is such an important thing to talk about right now, especially when we're rolling into the holidays, right? Things are stressful. You're spending a lot of extra money on holiday gifts. You've got kids out of school. Everyone's out of a routine. So times can get hard at home and become strained. So you guys have, you said prevention.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about what that entails?
Yeah, so we want to make sure that people know how to get help when they're in these stressful times, stressful relationships, stressful situations, and not feel isolated. A lot of times when people are in these stressful situations, they feel very isolated and very alone, and that's when things can really spiral out of control, or either just feel ashamed of trying to get the help. And in this time, a lot of people are going through a lot of things, whether it's the financial stress of the holidays, the loneliness of the holidays because you're far away from, your family, or families can't make it down, you can't make it down, or up there, or wherever you need to go because of things are a little tight right now. Gas prices may be low, but the groceries
are not.
Exactly. These groceries are not low. So whatever you're saving in gas, you're spending in groceries. And the kids are home, so they don't have their school stomachs. They have their home stomachs. And every 5 minutes, they're hungry. But we want to make sure people know their resources, and we teach people the warning signs of unhealthy relationships and maybe how to turn an unhealthy relationship to a healthy relationship. There are some times where you can turn an unhealthy relationship to a healthy relationship. There are some stipulations where you may need to leave that relationship.
Sure.
And we want to be that resource for you to let you know. And also this time of year, we do have a high rate of child abuse. People are stressed out. Sometimes they take the stress out on the kids, or we have a lot of soldiers deployed. And right now we have a lot of spouses who are single parents. And so hats off to you guys for holding it down on the household. I got to give you guys shout outs because y'all deserve that.
Absolutely.
You guys deserve that because this is hard. Listen, my husband went home, and I don't have kids, but I have 2 dogs. And I never knew, it seemed like every time he goes, something happens. And I feel like probably a lot of spouses are feeling this too. Like every time they go somewhere, every time they go to the field, or every time they get deployed, something happens that I got to take care of.
Right? Or isn't it always that when your spouse is gone, whether it's your pets or even your kids,
Yes.
You realize in that moment that they're only good for your spouse for certain things, and you're like, but I saw you be good for this, why be good for me? And it's so stressful, right?
It can't, and that's why we have parenting classes. We do have some parenting classes that can help you learn some new parenting techniques. And then also, of course, a lot of people have toddlers and little children, and so we have an infant and child safety class because you want to have the nicest decorations, but that 2-year-old just won't let your decorations be great. So how can you pretty much, make sure that, your decorations are good, but your toddler is pretty much safe as well, and not, sticking things in sockets or trying to chew on the decorations, choking on things and stuff like that. So we have great classes like that to help keep your children safe during the holidays.
Yeah, and so what do these classes look like? Are they one-on-one classes? Are they group settings for people that are looking to reach out?
It's pretty much a group setting. We don't really have one-on-one classes. Of course, we may be a little limited on that, but we do every month we have a calendar that comes out with the classes. Now, sometimes during the holidays, our classes kind of gets a little slimmer because most of the time people are leaving and the soldiers on block leave, and so they're taking their families to go see their families and stuff like that. So we might not have that many, but we do have those classes that are our group settings. We don't really have the one-on-one classes.
Got you. And so where can people find you? How can they reach out and get in contact with you?
Oh, there's so many ways. We have a Facebook page. We have, I think, an Instagram. And then we also have our website with the Fort Stewart website, which has a slew of information. And you can always call us at 912-767-2882. And there's usually someone always there. You can sign up. We'll tell you what classes we're offering this month, the time, the location. And we're also, we do some in-house and some virtual. And most of my classes that I offer are virtual because it helps that you don't have to leave your kids. You can stay home in your PJs, eat some Fruit Loops, and take my stress and anger management class. So that way you're not stressed out about taking my stress and anger management class. I try to make it less painful as possible because, sometimes it's a give and take. So we do have a hybrid, some in person, some virtual. And I think that's good with what we're doing now.
That's great. Well, hey, Ms. Gardner, this has been some excellent information. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I'd like to ask you if you have any tips for our family members to maybe they can keep in mind during the holidays.
Definitely. I got a slew.
All right. We'll be right back.
If you or someone you know needs crisis support, dial 988. This 3-digit dialing code connects directly to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, where compassionate, accessible care and support is available for anyone experiencing mental health-related distress. The 988 Lifeline helps thousands of people struggling to overcome suicidal crises or mental health-related distress every day. There is hope. Call or text 988 today.
All right, everybody, we are back and we are here again with Ms. Gardner from Army Community Service with the Family Advocacy Program. And before the break, we talked a little bit about you offering some tips to our listeners here. Maybe some things to keep in mind if life does get very stressful, especially now during the holidays. What do you got to offer up?
Listen, life is stressful just all around. And so especially recently, we got a lot of things going on in the world. And so there is so much stress. We have our soldiers deployed. Then you got the holidays. So it's like an ice cream sundae with like 5 cherries on top. I usually get 1 cherry, but now you got like 5 cherries on top. And so when life is getting stressful, the main thing is don't feel isolated and don't isolate yourself. A lot of times, a lot of people like to isolate themselves when they're going through, but you'll be surprised you're not the only one. And this is why we have the resources here. We have with the Family Advocacy Program, if your relationship is getting a little bit tough, sometimes you come here and take some of our relationship classes. Or if you need counseling, even personal or even maybe relationship counseling, you can get that from either our sister agency, which is the Family Advocacy Program at WIN, which do marriage counseling, or you can always talk to our military family life consultants, who is probably easier to get in with, and they can see you and talk to you, and they're counselors. And so we have resources for you, even off-post resources that can help you. And sometimes, think about groceries. Maybe we might be able to link you to some food pantries. With groceries being extremely high, this is a time that they have a lot of the giveaways because it's the holiday season. So if you're looking on Facebook or your community Facebook, the Hinesville probably Facebook, there's a lot of churches and community organizations who are giving out food, because a lot of times during the holidays, the stressful thing is usually the finances. Mm-hmm. And the one thing I would say is that we know that you want to give your kids everything, but sometimes you just have to make wiser decisions and maybe just give them that one special gift and think about the other things that really count, like food, clothing, shelter, water, lights. I'm old school. We didn't grow up with a lot of money. And so I know what it is to be without, but I also know that at this point in time, you might have to make some really hard, tough decisions and not try to get into debt for the holiday season.
Sure. Yeah. One thing that we've started doing with our family, because my kids just want everything, is we do 3 gifts. So it's one thing you want, one thing you need, and then just that one big must-have gift, so and then that's it, so you might need socks, you might want a new desk chair, you might absolutely have to have that big brand new Squishmallow or video game or what I'm talking about. So we just do 3 things then we try to focus more on the experience to make the memories, right? It's not all about stuff.
It's not. And I think that we are a stuff culture.
Oh yeah.
Give me. I want. And we've gotten away from the value of things, and also to include our relationships. We've gotten away from the value of our relationships and our family dynamics. And I think that's a big pressure with with it as well. And for our military culture, it's definitely harder because our soldiers are far away and trying to keep that line of communication.
Yeah.
You feel like everything's going haywire. And I tell my soldiers when I'm teaching them for the deployments and stuff like that, just because you are deployed does not mean you're an absentee parent.
Right.
It does not mean out of sight, out of mind. You still have to be creative and learn how to parent from afar, because your spouse and your children still needs your support. Although you got a lot of things going on there, you still have to figure out a time and a way to still be involved in your kids' life, still be probably like, a disciplinary, talking to them and making sure that they're being dressed for mom and doing the things that they need to be doing for the household, and maybe even talk about the responsibilities. So there's things that we do talk about when we, in the group setting, when we have to come out to units and talk about deployment, to let them know it's not out of sight, out of mind.
Sure.
You still have responsibilities as a parent when you are deployed. And so these are the things that we try to make sure that they know that there are lots of resources. Army Community Services has a lot of resources. We have our Exceptional Family Member Program. We have our Victim Advocate Program. We have our Financial Readiness Program. We have a lot of resources for you. And if we don't have the resource, then we'll help you and try to link you to the community resources that can be out there. And especially during this time, if you're in an unhealthy relationship and it may get physical, we can help you find safe shelter. Our victim advocates can help you get a temporary restraining order. They can help you reach out to the command and things like that. So it's a really good program to help you. You come see us, and they'll, sometimes it's not all about, just reporting. It's about getting those resources, and we want to make sure that because we do take, when you're in a relationship or when you're married, you take vows for better or for worse, but you really have to define what that worst is.
Absolutely. You have to have limits.
Limits, that's exactly. You have to have limits. Some people feel like, my love has no limits, but no, I believe there's some boundaries and there are some limits that you need to set for your healthy relationship. And if it turns unhealthy, can you get help? To a certain point, yes. To a certain point, you may need to learn to let go. Yeah,
sure. And love shouldn't hurt, whether that's physical hurt, emotional, mental. It should not hurt. So
it shouldn't. Sometimes it does.
Yeah.
That's where they get all those good country western songs and the good love R&B songs, because I got hurt by love. But it shouldn't hurt. But you got to understand the good should outweigh the bad. It's never going to be a perfect relationship, but the good should outweigh the bad. And when you have the bad, it shouldn't be devastating bad. It should be, okay, we can recuperate from this bad. Because people might have a unrealistic view of love. And honestly, when you look at our television today, there's really no healthy examples of good relationships. It's a lot of reality TV brawl fightings when it comes to the relationships.
Right? Yeah, that's what you see in reality TV, is like people get physical, or you go to like these super romantic movies, and that also gives you such an unrealistic view of what your relationship should be, right? That's not real. That's for Hollywood.
That exactly. You pay money to go see the good stuff, but in reality, it's not like that.
Life is not like a Hallmark movie.
Don't you wish it was? Hallmark movie is off the chain right now because it's the holiday season, and so they're ramping it up, and everybody's falling in love over a Christmas tree. So it's too funny. But and I think that we don't have no middle ground. Like you got this far left over here where they're on reality TV fighting, and then you got the Hallmark movies where everybody's falling in love and everything just works out perfect. And it's like, where's the middle ground? You have some arguments and some falling in love, and you have a happy medium.
Reality.
Yes. And we could just all live in a fantasy world. It would be awesome, but that's not the case.
You talk about how the holidays are a stressful time. What's your favorite way to decompress during this time?
I like baking. Baking is kind of like a good science experiment, and it can, but it also can be stressful because if your recipe don't come out right, then wasted all these expensive grocery items, and it's like, who's gonna eat these now? Now I gotta feed it to the chickens. So, I got chickens, and they're really good disposable little velociraptors. So, but sometimes it's baking. Sometimes if I can have an empty house, it'll be cleaning. Then you turn on some really good music and just start cleaning. Cleaning can really actually help you decompress and really actually help you think in the process of solutions while you're also getting a clean environment. People don't understand, sometimes if you just really clean, declutter your environment, it can also help you de-stress because it's a clean space.
Yeah.
Doesn't a clean house just feel like the smell of bleach and pine salt?
Yeah, but truly, when you really clean out a room like that, you just want to hang out there.
Yeah.
Because it's so
Relaxing.
nice and relaxed. I actually read something the other day about how like a cluttered room actually, in a kid's cluttered room affects their school grades.
Really?
Because if they're up there doing their homework in a dirty room, they're not actually able to focus completely on what they need to focus on. They're like looking at the Legos on the floor or, the clothes piled up that's fallen out of the hamper. So yeah, I mean, like a dirty space, you're exactly right. It can really affect you in ways that you don't even realize.
Listen, and what I say is, look, get these kids involved. Don't be no homemade. Let them help them, give them chores. I'm old school.
Yeah.
We was washing clothes at probably 8 or separating clothes at 6, washing dishes. You don't have to do it all by yourself. This is letting your kids learn responsibility, the purpose of a home and cleaning the home and things like that. Because sometimes trying to take it all on yourself can be very taxing. And they're the ones usually creating the mess. So help them, get them involved and things like that. But let me also do a plug for our new parent support program. So if you are expecting, once you find out that you are pregnant, you can be a part of our new parent support program, which is a really good program right now, especially because our soldiers deployed and a lot of people might feel isolated, but our licensed clinical social workers and registered nurses go into the home about twice a month. Now, if you think about that off post, it's really going to cost you a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
So that could cost you, like, I could imagine paying for a registered nurse to come into the home. You're looking about probably like $800 per visit or something like that. But they come into your home twice a month, help with growth development. Because a lot of people might not know how to, when you had your first baby, that was like, okay.
You're like holding it way out,
they're so fragile. I don't know how to give them a bath or, how do I do this? And so they're here to help you through those steps and then through those milestones of tummy time, safe sleep, which is extremely important.
So important.
Introducing them to new foods. So they have a very great curriculum that they go by, and they be that support for you during that time. Because back in the day, we had that, grandmas, aunties, and things like that. But everybody is so dispersed. Everybody is working like 3-4 jobs. Community when you have your first or second baby. And so our new parent support program is a really good program. And you can always just call our office and sign up for our program or call for more information. We'd definitely be happy to give that to you.
Yeah, that's awesome. And also, now that we're talking about babies, and we've been talking about kids this whole time, right? But I want to kind of go back to what Brian was saying about like finding something, a healthy way to decompress, right? So it could be at home with your kids there cleaning, but if you need that time away, just a plug that, Child, Youth, and School Services, they do actually have hourly childcare available. It's free to register your kids, through the CYS program. And then if you get on their list to try to get into even hourly, or, it really does take a village. So if you need to call a friend and say, hey, can you please take my kids for a couple of hours so I can go to the gym, or I can take a walk, or just go to the grocery store in silence. I mean, even if it's something mundane, I think whether you're mom or dad, or hey, if both parents are home, dad, take the kids for a couple of hours. When I get back, I'll take the kids for a couple of hours. You go do your thing, right? You got to find some time to get away and decompress and take a breather and come back refreshed.
That's the one thing I like about the military culture, is that we will sit here and find a community to network with and be each other's support. And so if we have spouses out there that have, first-time spouses, bring them into the fold, work with them, let them know that it's okay, because the military spouse life can be really stressful. A lot of times you're a single parent and you're pretty much handling this alone, because our soldiers go everywhere and they're, in the field or they're deployed. And so having that community and that family work with each other, be there for each other, make a, especially since the kids are out, make a whole, I guess, a list, like, okay, well, Monday, she's taking the kids. Tuesday, okay, I got the kids. Wednesday, okay, she got the kids for a couple of hours. So everybody gets a break and maybe a rotation, but of course, trusted individuals, because, we don't want you just leaving your kids with anybody, so, because things are a little strange out here. But if you got, trusted friends that y'all been good people for a good while, this is something that you could do. It's important for mental health.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of people going through some mental health issues right now. Don't be afraid to reach out, call our behavioral health. Even for our soldiers, they have embedded behavioral health in their units and things like that that can help. We want to make sure that people are just not isolated. I think that's the biggest thing: isolation, loneliness, and stress.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if the stress is really ever going to really go anywhere, but I do believe there are some things to help maybe one by one alleviate it and work through it.
Sure. And just to put it out there, it's cool to get help, right? It's cool to ask for help. And I think some people maybe don't reach out for help, especially in the military, because they're afraid that if they go to behavioral health or if they go to their command or reach out to your team or anyone at ACS or the military family life counselors, that it's going to get back and it's going to follow them everywhere. And that's actually not the case. That is not frowned upon anymore.
Not anymore.
Whatever, it is not frowned upon to admit that you may need a little bit of assistance, because receiving that assistance is going to be so much better than something huge and traumatic happening because you didn't seek the help that you knew you needed.
And that's exactly what we want. We want to make sure that you receive the help that you need and not feel ashamed about receiving the help, because if you don't, it starts this snowball. It's like, it turns into like this little ice cube, and then it starts rolling down the hill, and next thing you know, you have a big old ice boulder that, where did we get here? And so, although most of the time we are helping people when they have that big ice boulder and we're chipping it away, but we would really like to help you when it's an ice cube so it doesn't snowball effect. The thing is, we don't want to be your last result. We want to be your first, to come see us first when you first have that initial problem, so that way it doesn't snowball effect and turn into other things.
Awesome. Well, you know what? I think that just about wraps it up. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
No, I really had a great time talking to you guys. I really enjoyed the Fort Stewart Hunter Army Airfield community, and the love that I have for this place, and the fact that we just really want to help our community. We want to make sure that they know the resources and that we're here for them in any way possible within our means. Like, don't come ask me for $100. But within our means, and to make sure that you also know your community resources, because we never want to see our military members struggle, whether it be financially, mental health, or anything else that's going on. Even with the kids. Let me just I'm sorry, I know we keep talking about stuff, but I just want to put this out there. We really actually have kid counselors. So if your kids are going through a hard time too, and they have some things that, you got child and youth behavioral health, and then you also have our influx that are youth counselors as well. So make sure, if you feel like your kids are struggling, especially with some other parents being away for the holidays, make sure you also give them the help, because we usually focus on the adults, but we also forget that kids have feelings and they could be having a hard time because maybe their service member is away as well. So you can actually get them counseling for that.
That's awesome. Yeah, being a kid these days especially, kind of hard. That's at least my experience in the Cook household, is being a kid is hard.
That's their argument every day, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know, going back to paying no bills and just eating whatever my mama cooks right about now is probably like...
You're right. I'm like, man, I'd love to go back and be a 12-year-old right now.
For real.
Yeah, but this has been just fantastic information. And I know we talked a lot about how to, do this throughout the holidays, but this is year-round.
Yes.
So make sure that if y'all need it, that you're reaching out to the Family Advocacy Program and all the other great resources that are available to you on Fort Stewart and Hunter Army Airfield. Well, Brian, you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. I'm Brian Lund.
And I'm Molly Cook, and that is Miss Gardner.
Thank you, guys.
All right, happy holidays.
And we're signing off.
The Digital Garrison app is your one-stop source for all things Fort Stewart Hunter Army Airfield. With the DG at your fingertips, you'll never miss out on upcoming events, installation updates, facility and gate information, weather, shopping, and so much more. Digital Garrison is free from your phone's app store. Download today.